Hi, my name is Edith Scarletto, and I am the librarian for Food Nutrition and Dietetics. This video is about evaluating information. Our objectives today are to make progress towards identifying your current methods of evaluation, distinguish aspects of information that can be evaluated, use a method called 4 moves and a habit to evaluate 4 types of information sources. Let's get started. Think about how you evaluate information you need or need to find. When you need to know something, who do you ask for advice? Lots of people ask family and friends for advice, but how do you determine if they are reliable sources or not? For instance, my teenagers are not fans of my mother's gift choices. She's 76 and lives out of state, so they ask me to suggest gifts for them because I have a better idea of what they like. In a similar way, I might only ask certain people for restaurant recommendations because we might have the same taste in food. I might ask other people for entertainment suggestions like shows or movies because we have similar tastes in those products. They have a certain kind of authority in that we share preferences or taste. But sometimes you might need expertise that you can't necessarily identify. I have several areas of expertise, but auto mechanic is not one of them. I rely on my mechanic to be the expert on what to repair for my car. Finding an expert can be tricky. You can look at reviews, ask other folks for their experience with that person, and see what kinds of qualifications they have. So we've talked about taste and expertise a bit, but let's take a look at these specific questions. How do you evaluate information that you get now? What kinds of investigation techniques can affect your search for information? We can build on those to evaluate information in an academic context. Librarians have named these methods the 4 moves. What is the optimal time to eat a banana? I have 4 other people in my house, and they all have different banana preferences, and they argue about them. It only matters if they're the ones buying the bananas. If I buy them, I try to get different bunches for the people who have different preferences. One greener and one closer to ripe. If I only get one kind or the other, some folks are left out. So no fruit for those folks that have not gotten their banana. Information searching is similar to shopping. If I'm only looking for my preference for fruit, I won't bother to notice if anything else is available. I see what I want and I kind of ignore the rest. If I'm only looking for information that says what I want my paper to say, then I'll probably ignore information that might inform or alter my assumptions because it's different than what I expect to see. Research is essentially looking for answers to questions. If we have a predetermined answer, it can cloud our judgment so that we don't see all the data in front of us. It's important to try to write research questions to be open-ended so that what we get back is broad enough information for us to see the whole picture. So keep in mind we want to choose only looking to evidence that is pre-selected can create what we call confirmation bias. Not looking at all the evidence before coming to a conclusion the evidence supports, or only fact-checking articles that confirm your opinion or solution. Let's use this model to help guide us in evaluating sources of information so that we can have a non-preferential search. The 4 moves are listed here. These can help you determine if an information source should be considered reliable. Check for previous work. How did that person's advice turn out last time? Did it work out for you or not? Go upstream to the source. Where did they get their information? How did they bring it together? Can I ask that person directly or see their data? Can you validate the information from the original source? Or did the secondary author describe the information accurately? Read laterally. Look at what is discussed online and in other academic circles about the information or the author. Is this person respected in their field? Are there reviews about their work or biographical information about the author? What do others in the field say about their work? Circle back. Did you go down a rabbit hole? Check back with your original purpose and make sure you have answered the questions you started with. If not, start back at the beginning with better purpose. Did you miss any parts that still need investigation? Okay, the second part of this video is going to show you how to accomplish this with one source. So I'm going to ask you to pause the video, and I am going to pull up the research guide for food and nutrition that you can find at the link on the screen. Were you able to find the link? It's up here at the top. You can also type that into a browser if it's easier than using the link in the video. And what I'd like you to do is scroll down. On the left, you'll see courses. And because I've taught this workshop in in-person classes, we're going to click on that. And we're going to scroll down to the 4 moves for evaluation of information. Here you can see that we have a summary of what we talked about for the 4 moves. And then you will also see a 4 moves exercise link in a Word document. This is a worksheet that you can use to follow along with the video or to use in your information investigations to find out what you need to validate your sources. If we open up this document, I'll show you what it looks like. And you'll see that it has the basic questions here. And it's going to give you some suggestions to verify the information from the source that you found. Okay? These are all 4 of our questions and some suggestions in some places for you to work on those. What you'll also see if you scroll down is a couple websites and documents that I pulled together as practice. Okay, I've split my screen here so you can do this at home. And you'll see that I have my worksheet over here. I'm going to enable the editing. And okay, so now you can see that I have my worksheet on the left and I have my website pulled up on the right. So I'm going to take a look at this article. It's about intermittent fasting. It is from the Today Show, which is kind of an online news program, more of a magazine than probably a hard news program. I'm going to X out of the video here. And we're going to walk through what they're trying to say. So they're talking about intermittent fasting. And if I'm scrolling through this or I'm watching the video, I'm going to see if I can figure out where they got their information. So if you scroll down, you could see in this paragraph, you'll see the name Thomas Pieber, one of the study authors, and chair of the Department of Internal Medicine at the Medical University of Graz in Austria. Okay, so this tells us the name of one of the people. So what I want to do is probably jot that down and see if we can find information about that person. So they have some quotes here, and they'll give you a summary of the study. Okay. And over here, I'm going to say, okay, I want to try to probably go find that research study because I'm not quite sure if this is an accurate description of the study, and I want to look at it more carefully. So I'm looking at all the summaries, and they don't link directly to the study, which is kind of irritating. But I did find another name. So I'd want to jot that down, excuse me. And see what ways that I can find. You'll also see there's another expert there listed, Jamie Baum from the Center for Human Nutrition at the University of Arkansas. So we're checking for laterally what other people say about this information. This is listed here. And so Krista Verde is another peer who's been studying for this many years, and it'll tell you a little bit about what she thinks of the research as well. So I'm going to open up another browser window and see if we can locate the original professor that's listed up here at the top. Okay, so I just did a basic Google search for our professor here, intermittent fasting, and Thomas Pieber. And it looks like he's down here in the second link. So I'm going to select that. So we can read the whole study and see if the one upstream to find the source. This is how you can go find the study, read what you think it says, and see if the news program accurately reported what the study told us. You can also go investigate using just a plain Google search who those other two professors are that are listed and see what their expertise are. Do they have similar expertise? I saw that there was a nutritionist. So I didn't carefully look at the other person's name, but you could look them up and see what else their expertise is in intermittent fasting. And that can be some ways to figure out, how reliable this particular source is. Now, when I say, is the source reliable, I'm talking about the Today Show, their reporting of this information. It may be that they've kind of skewed their results to be a little more sensational than we would find if we read the study ourselves. And so that's something good to know. When you find something like this on a random website, you should always investigate the source. And when you're citing things in a paper, you should be citing the original source of information, not someone else's description of the study or information, unless it's an official or academic review of the information or a professional review by another scientist. So that's how you could take a look at maybe what else Dr. Pieber has written, what other folks say about intermittent fasting. So maybe that's your own academic journal search, is to look and see what other folks say to see if those results can be corroborated. This is an older article, so there may be new information out there that they're trying to find. And also when you read the study itself, it should give you information about how they think it changes the scientific view of this particular kind of information. So this is an example of how you can take a source and use our moves to make sure that we know that this is helpful. Okay, so here you're looking at the impact of intermittent fasting. This is the title. Actually, this is a newer article than the study itself, so you can see what other research that he has produced. You can see that the information is provided by the university that he works at, and then when the post was updated. You can see the research review, so the study dates, the outcome measures. This is maybe a little more scientific detail than you were originally looking for, but this gives us a lot of information about the study itself and how reliable we think it is.